I was going to say the possibilities for Relicanth are endless, except there's only 7 fossils in Standard right now, so there's like 6 or 7 possibilities. And some fossil Pokemon like Cradily and Rampardos don't really fit the vibes. Regardless, the more time you spend thinking about Relicanth, the more excited you get about playing with something old and hard. For 1 of any energy, Relicanth only does 10 damage. For each fossil on your bench, though, that's up by 30. You could be boring and run 20 fossils plus Fossil Quarry, Legacy Energy, and Brave Bangle, dealing upwards of 190 damage each turn, hoping to 2-shot your way to victory. Or you could be cool and take advantage of the fact that you're playing a fossil-heavy deck. My favorite is Tirtouga. If they have just 6 items in the discard pile, it's already dealing more than Relicanth. Plus, it's a stage 1, so you don't have to mess around with rare candy. Archeops does have a sweet tooth, but being able to devolve somebody like Dragapult and KO the Dracloak underneath in the same turn is hilarious. And even somebody like Bastiodon can make life miserable, forcing them to have at least 3 energy attached to their active to deal damage. While Relicanth can win games early due to its fastness, it struggles heavily against Dragapult and decks running Munkidori. But when you're as old as Relicanth, being able to beat anybody off for any amount of time is welcome. I don't think I can win this matchup. Not with this deck, at least. With the Archeops build, I could 100% win this matchup. But I have to 2-shot everything. Okay, hang on. No, I can't Fossil Quarry because I have Larry Steel in my hand. Naturally, we have the card that we can't have in our hand. And then I think in this situation, I have to go for the Applin. Because the Hydrapple is such a problem that I don't think I can win otherwise, right? The Odrapon is going to hit into me, so it's going to put 20 damage on it. I can knock out an Odrapon with 190 damage. That is the damage cap. So the damage cap with this deck is 190. If you have Spiky Energy, that, puts it a little bit lower. But you're basically just knocking out Meowth and Lily's Clefairy, and that's it. So the Spiky Energy helps a little bit. And even to knock out Meowth and Lily's Clefairy, you need to have 5 fossils plus Brave Bangle. So I don't know in what universe... Like, I'm gonna maybe make a YouTube short about this, but there's literally, I think they said 17 people on the Pokemon TCG staff who test this game to balance it and make sure it's fair and balanced. So you're saying there's 17 people whose full-time job, it might have been 12, whose full-time job is to test this game and make sure the cards are balanced. And no one said, hey, we should make Fossil Beatdown 30 plus 30, so that way it can knock out Fezandipity and Odrapon, but it still has to do a lot by, having 5 fossils plus a Brave Bangle. Right? It's like, there's so many interesting things, and if I just top deck a Brave Bangle, I do win this game, which is hilarious. All right, so I don't need this guy. This guy's dumb. Are you freaking kidding me with this? All right, well, that's a Night Stretcher for a Relicanth. Because Larry Skill discards your hand. I will talk about Larry's skill in 1 second. And it's not that Larry Skill is good, it's that there's no other better option. That is the thing with Larry Skill. It's not that Larry Skill is a great card, it's just what's a better option, right? You discard your hand, you get a Pokemon, a supporter, and a basic energy. Well, Relicanth is a Pokemon, Water is an energy, and a supporter is a supporter. And that's about all you can do, right? Like, you can't use Hilda here because that's an evolution and an energy. Colress is probably the best one, other than Larry Skill, like the best non-discard one, because it gets you Fossil Quarry plus an energy, and you're guaranteed to start Relicanth because it's your only basic. All right, they're giving me a golden shower. Great, I really enjoy that. All right, so what's this one do? Prevent all damage. I doubt I have to worry about that. The Root Fossil is not going to do anything. What's this one again? Prevent all damage. That one is the basic. Let's just get rid of this guy. All right, so what the hell is this hand? This is the worst hand I could have gotten. Okay, no, this is fine. This is fine. Everything is great. Everything is awesome. I just lose. This deck plays 7 energy. Okay, this deck literally plays 7 energy. I am out of energy now. That's figuratively impossible. What are the odds of that? That I have to discard all of my energy just to play the game? There's no shot that's even possible right now. Like, that is that's absolutely a joke by PDCGL. Like, hey, you know how you only play 7 energy and Larry Steel discards your hand? Well, what if we give you all of your energy, including the spiky energy, no Night Stretcher? You play more Night Stretchers than you have the same amount of Night Stretchers as basic energy. All right, there's Force to Vitality, that's fine. Now, maybe they're going to get rid of a bunch of items, but I'm at 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. So Tirtouga is doing the same amount, which is fine. But I think I just have to knock out the Meganium. How does this deck beat Dragapult? It really doesn't. The Munkidori is just such a massive problem. DJ Dog Stamps, don't be weird. This is a family-friendly stream, DJ Dog Stamps. Don't be weird. But yeah, it doesn't beat Dragapult. It's just, if they don't have Munkidori, you know, if they prize all their Munkidori, then maybe I have a chancey. All right, so I can use Tirtouga, because they did basically make Tirtouga awesome here. And that's a Brave Bangle. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Let's go for the Meganium. Okay, I mean, that's fine. I'll take that. And then I guess just to thin the hand, I have to go Lily's Determination. Well, I mean, it could be worse. It could be better, but it could also be worse. Could also be better, though. Could also be a lot better. All right, so let's go Night Stretcher. I think I'm just kind of out of resources because of that Larry skill. Well, let's go Fossil Quarry, get another Tier-touga fossil. So at least I have something, maybe. At least maybe I'll have something at some point. All right, maybe they go autopilot here and play too many items. But I essentially have, like, 2 turns. I could potentially get my Legacy Energy, but I might have to save that for the Tirtouga. I do have Hand Trimmer as well. So there's always a chance they aren't paying attention and they activate Hand Trimmer and they can suck my butt. But fun fact, I believe I have game now. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I have game if I just find Tirtouga. I just need Tirtouga Water Energy. But I'm down 3 Night Stretchers. So I need to find Night Stretcher and Tirtouga. It actually makes no sense whatsoever to attack with a Relicanth, which is kind of funny. Like, there's no reason to attack with Relicanth. I literally have game with Tirtouga. So it's just wait a couple turns and hope. I can't really use Larry's Steel here, though. Because if I use Larry's Steel... Oh, that's actually probably pretty good. That actually might help. Yeah, that actually does help. Joke's on you, Mike. That's actually really useful. Wait, what? Oh, because you didn't have the energy. Oh, get absolutely bodied, Mike. Get absolutely wrecked, Mike. All right, so the stamp hurt you, Mike. How does it feel? How does it feel to be piloted directly into the ground, Mike? All right, so we'll just get rid of that, get that out of the deck. I mean, I know they don't have another unfair stamp, so I just soften up the Hydrapple. I wasn't even... Mike, I got some bad news for you, buddy. I wasn't targeting the Meganium to shut off your Hydrapple and screw up your strategy. I was targeting the Meganium to take a prize, because that was all I could knock out, because I can't even 2-shot a Hydrapple with all the healing. So how does that make you feel that you beat yourself off? You stood in front of the mirror, you saw something old and hard, and you just started beating yourself off, and it wasn't even worthwhile. DJ Dog Stamps, believe it or not, this has won more tournaments, won more gym battles in Japan than Rampardos, than Mega Delphox, than I think Mega Slowbro on its own. It basically take half of the playable pitch black cards, of which there's like 10, or I guess Pokemon. Relicanth is in, you know, the top 40%. No, this is Japan. You're thinking Gym Leader Challenge. All right, so yeah, the game is over and I have won. And fun fact, their oopsie didn't even cost me the game. Unless I just don't... Wait, no, because I get a Pokemon So as long as I didn't prize the... Oh, God, what if I prize the Tirtouga? There's no way. There's no way I prize the Tirtouga, okay? It's guaranteed. It's in the deck. I told you. It's in the deck. I have game. I haven't even done the math, but I'm assuming that I'm doing over 200 damage. Oh, that would have been a front. Oh, God. Oh, God. So their oopsie didn't... What the hell, PDCGL? Oh, my God. So their oopsie didn't cost them the game. Playing items cost them the game. This is why Tirtouga is the best partner. Okay, Relicanth is not the MVP. Tirtouga is the MVP. This is why the deck is so good, is because of Tirtouga. Relicanth just gets it up, but Tirtouga beats you off. You're probably wondering, how did I get these stars? Well, it happened because I was trying to fit too many toes in my mouth, and bad things happens when you try to open your mouth too hard, or too high. All right, so I'm facing Dhelmise. I went second, and I have a turn 1 KO. Doesn't matter if it was a Dhelmise or a Shuppet. I have a turn 1 KO. I feel like I should get rid of the Brave Bangle simply because, if they have a 2-prizer, I'll be able to deal with it with Tirtouga. I didn't get a Relicanth. That's okay. I think in this situation, I just want to try to catch up a Dhelmise because they do have a Banette in their hand. Knocking out the Dhelmise makes a lot more sense, right? Knocking out a Shuppet gets their Dhelmise closer to beating me off, which is obviously bad. And I got the turn 1 5 fossils, which the deck is designed to do. This is a very winnable matchup, but it does require your opponent to either not realize that Poltergeist or I can never remember which is the evolution. It's Poltergeist sounds like the evolution, but I think that's the pre-evolution. And this is perfect. As long as they don't have a bosses on my Tirtouga, they have, sniffed the wrong butt. I don't know. Yeah, Poltergeist sounds like the evolution, doesn't it? Sinistcha is the stage 1. Sinistcha sounds like the baby T. Poltergeist sounds like the big T. And sounds like I want to spill the tea. Uh-oh. Okay, no, you're about to discard that. No, damn it. Damn it, they realized. All right, so they're probably... I guess they're not going to go for Gwyn. Which means I do have a choice to make. I think I just bosses the... Oh my God, what hand is that? What the hell kind of a hand did they have? All right, well, they're just probably going to retreat and use the Dhelmise because... And yeah, I can't even use bosses now because they have the Sinistcha. So my options are... Assuming they hit into me with Banette, then I'm going to judge, obviously, because I have to disrupt their hand. But the smartest thing they can do here is they didn't retreat. They did not retreat. Remember, cover fossils are immune to effects of attacks. So all of my Tirtouga fossils are goated. And then I go, attach to you. This is kind of frustrating, but I guess... Oh, they only have 1? I mean, I know I'm knocking out 2. But maybe it is more smarter to just go bosses the Dhelmise. I know this is risky, but I want to test it out. Right, because if I knock out the Banette, they basically are 100% guaranteed that the Dhelmise is activated. At least in this Professor Turo's scenario, there's a chance it doesn't get activated. And if they do just go for the Poltergeist, I can discard the Root Fossil and the Plume Fossil. Oh, well, they just had... Okay, yeah, I should have known they'd go for something like the Blender. But what they don't realize is they're probably going to go for the Sinistcha, not realizing, because they can't read, that the cover fossils are protected against all effects of attacks. And they will knock out the Relicanth, but then I knock out their Sinistcha. The potential issue that I'll run into is just finding a basic. And there's a Lilies to 8. Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to find an energy. Even though I think I've only gotten rid of 1. The deck only plays a handful of them, I guess a footfall of them. They have another Sinistcha. They probably shouldn't evolve. And if you're wondering about the Spiritomb, remember, you need 13. So if I don't knock out any Ghost Veilers, they can't use Sinistcha. So if I am somehow able to Lilies into an attacker, then they're completely screwed, and it's kind of hilarious. Sorry, if I get into an attacker and like a Pokemon catcher or something, because they need 13 to use Spiritomb. Spiritomb does bypass Legacy Energy, as so does Matcha Spin. Because remember, Legacy Energy is damage from an attack. But the cover fossils, this is going to be hilarious. They're going to waste all their time to do this. They're putting all of their... That doesn't get you any basics, buddy. Okay, yeah, see? See? Now what are you going to do, bro? Now what you going to do? Okay, please, top deck a Night Stretcher, top deck a Pokepad, top deck a Relicanth. There's so many things I can just top deck and make this an auto win. I got an energy, which is like the worst thing I could have gotten in this situation. All right. I do have 2 Tirtouga. Obviously, they have enough items in the discard pile. Oh, God, this is so tough. Do I get rid of the Colress and the Plume Fossil? Or do I put the Plume... I guess I put the Plume Fossil down. I should probably attach the Legacy. But what if... I mean, the odds of me getting a Relicanth and a Tirtouga are pretty much the same. God. Yeah, I guess I just have to do this. Oh, we got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm the best BDC jail player in the world. Never doubt your pilot. All right, so we get rid of the Plume Fossil. That guy goes up front. We get rid of the Root Fossil. Try taking multiple prizes now, Buttface. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I let my feelings get the best of me. But this is how the matchup is supposed to go. You're supposed to get a playable card in your hand. You know I should be using the Prism Tower to thin my hand, but I kind of need everything, which does make things a little sketchy. But Tirtouga is by far the MVP. If you're ever playing a Relicanth deck and you do not have at least one Tirtouga in your deck, what are you doing? Number 1, Tirtouga, insane attacker. Number 2, it's protected against Sinistcha's attack. It's protected against Phantom Dive pings. There is no world where you should not be playing Cover Fossil and Tirtouga in your Relicanth deck, which is kind of funny because a lot of the winning lists in Japan that I saw were just Relicanth, Brave Bangle, 7 energy with one of them being Legacy, and then like 20 fossils, and that's it. But again, what you have to remember, did they just put an air balloon on somebody with a 3 retreat cost? What you have to remember is that gym battles in Japan have like 6 or 7 oh, bro. Bro, how did you lose this matchup this badly, bro? I'm just beating myself off, and you're just out here getting beaten off. I gotta stop beating people off. It's my hands are getting chafed. All right, so let's go Fossil Quarry. Let's put down literally anybody. It doesn't matter. You just at this point, you just want to thin your deck of fossils. Because my win condition obviously is Tirtouga. If they go for another Matcha Spin, that's fine, because right now they can't even use Spiritomb. Right? They have four sneakers on the battlefield, which means they can have a maximum of 12 in the discard. Spiritomb requires 13. So I am that amazing. I'm that amazing that I can do math. Can you imagine how good I am just at basic math? I can count, even though my toes only go up to 11, I can count to 12. Yeah, everyone, comment down below. We're proud of you, Pilot, for learning how to count to 12, even though you need to borrow someone else's feet to do it. All right, they're just gonna not do anything. Wow, this was kind of a beatdown. I was not expecting to win this hard, and they have 5 cards left. They've taken 1 prize. I didn't even need Relicanth. Again, this is why Okay, this is awesome. I'm just gonna get my backup attacker. I'll give him a thumbs up. It's not a sarcastic thumbs up. It's not a rub it in your face. It's I have double Tirtouga. You can't do anything. I win. That is all that is to let you know I need to take 2 prizes to win. I have double Tirtouga. I'm doing 330 damage. So this is really helpful that I played this matchup during my testing and I didn't just raw dog it just live on stream in front of a bunch of people. Is I learned that the cover fossil, you need to focus on your cover fossils and Tirtouga because they're going to put a ton of items in the discard pile. But you lose this matchup if you go first or if you don't get a turn 1 KO. Basically, whoever gets the first KO has a 69% chance of winning. And all you have to do is make sure you avoid their Sinistcha, their Poltergeist, and their Spiritomb. If you can do that, it's actually pretty easy to win. I mean, with a start like this, whenever your opponent just starts a 70 hit point Pokemon, and that's it, you just win the game. I mean, I guess technically I want to put the Plume Fossils, but they're obviously playing the Teal Mask Ogerpon. I don't want to go to Hooters. I just want to knock out the Pick-a-Peck. Knocking out Pick-a-Peck is the best thing to do here. Now, the negative side of putting 2 Relicanth into play is the fact that I'm stunting my growth here, as it were. I'm going to be stuck at doing a maximum of 130, but it's the risk that I'm taking because I didn't think I'd just draw into all of my Relicanth. Well, I didn't think I would just Lilies into all 4 of my Relicanth, considering I've lost, I think, 2 games because I just ran out of Pokemon and couldn't find them. And, you know, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from PDCGL screwing you over, and you're like, okay, I had multiple games where I just needed a Tirtouga or a Relicanth and I would have won, and I never found them. So I should probably prematurely finish myself and put a Relicanth into play. And Ebrex, thank you for the sub. And I should put in a premature Relicanth so that way if they do knock out the active, then I'm fine. I do stunt my growth. But, oh, this is great. And the really, really cool thing is that they're going to draw a bajillion cards. Even if they're like, okay, Trust Your Pilot is playing Tirtouga. I'm going to limit my items so that way Trust Your Pilot can't clap my cheeks. Then I just hit him with a Rotom at the end of the game and it's hilarious. So if you haven't watched the VOD, yes, it's on the VOD's channel. I apologize. I wanted to make a main channel video of Toucannon. You know, I won a lot of games. It's just my wins were bad. My losses were worse. Toucannon is still, I still believe Toucannon is good. No, Ryusham, the reason you don't want to use Great Hall Net, which is just the terrible translation, should have been Big Catch Net, which was better, is do the math. They're going to triple stab. They're going to triple stab. Oh, God, I've been there. Shogun-chan, Uwu, I've been there before. I've been there before. It's not a fun feeling. Let's just get another fossil going. I guess, yeah, we get the Tier-touga fossil down. But don't worry, I will not lose my train of thought. All right, so yeah, I'm just going to do nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is best. But the reason you don't bother with the Great Hall Net, which is shuffle in 3 water and shuffle in up to 3 Pokemon, 3 water Pokemon, is you basically, with Legacy Energy, you want to force them to take 7 prizes. So you have 4 Relicanth, plus a Tirtouga, plus 7 energy. So you look at it this way, 4 Relicanth plus 4 Night Stretcher is 8 Relicanth, essentially, and you have 7 energy, and they have to take 7 prizes with Legacy Energy. So that is one thing that I'm still, you know, guilty of, that basically every new player is guilty of, is you put too much energy in your deck. You put way too much energy into your deck. Think of how many prizes your opponent needs to take and how many energy you need to attack. With Fossil Beatdown on Relicanth, it takes 1 energy. If everything goes right, they have to take 7 knockouts to win. So they have to take 7 knockouts. I need 1 energy, so I need 7 energy. So you put 7 energy in the deck. I also need 7 Pokemon. Well, that's 4 Relicanth plus 4 Night Stretcher, which is technically 8. And then I also have Tirtouga, which is just, you know, again, a great attacker. And I probably have a knockout on 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't. This would actually be a decent time for Rotom, though. Right? This wouldn't be the worst time for Rotom because I'm very worried about the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. It's such a tough call. I mean, I'm knocking out a Toucannon, so maybe I just want to set them up here for a little bit funny of a thing. Because I don't think I want to use... Actually, they don't have a backup attacker, so I guess I do use Judge. But my handy is so thick. I have such a thick handy right now that it feels so dumb to do that. I'm only taking 1 prize. Please don't play Unfair Stamp. Please have something, like, please have a Prime Catcher. Eevee, the problem with that strategy is the problem with a lot of these Area Zero Underpants decks is that you need to play Fossil Quarry to get your fossils, because what if they just Badoo you a bunch of turns? You can't put your fossils into play whatsoever. So you get mounted in Badun. Area 0, you still need a Terra. So don't forget, you would need a Terra, which would probably be Pikachu. There's another item. I think that's GG on their 210 hit point Pokemon. That's all you're waiting for. Soon as they get to 6. Soon as they get to 6 items, well, they're at 7. Aw, crap. Oh, that's a Colress. Okay. So I do have an attack this turn. I have a knockout this turn. What I don't have is a Tirtouga, which is a slight issue here. But I have a knockout on the Toucannon. They got to 6, because then with 6, it's 180 plus a Brave Bangle. And then obviously with special red card, that's 7, but then they special red card to me, and that's very bad. Special red card is, not great. It's, some would say, really crappy, and it's like, you really can't win now. But I'm totally okay going for Fossil Quarry. Fun fact, I could get rid of all of my fossils. That is the really funny thing, is if we get into this really specific situation where they have no bench Pokemon left, and they're just like, oh, I'm going to use your fossils against you for Toucannon's Feather Ronda Rousey to do 320, I can just discard all my fossils and have 0 bench Pokemon. All right, so let's put this guy down. It's unfortunate, because the reason I wanted to prioritize the Plume fossil, hello. Okay, do I take the knockout, or do I get rid of their items? Oh, this is so confusing. I feel like I have to take a knockout, because then I'm just, man. No, I think I take the knockout, and then I still have Rotom for next turn. Right, so I still have a Rotom for next turn. And then I can go Fossil Quarry. I can thin a couple cards out of my deck. I've shuffled my deck. So this is less than ideal, but I still have access to Rotom next turn, right? Because I'll Night Stretcher. I have Legacy Energy, so I might still be able to Rotom next turn. But I don't even need to Rotom. Yeah, like, what's the point of Rotom when I already am doing 210? So it's actually like, what's the point? All right, so Relicanth, we knock out the Toucannon. And yeah, Plume Fossil, unfortunately, Legacy Energy. They might try to play around it here, which would be good. And then, yeah, let's just get another Tier-touga. So if they do use the Wellspring Masked Ogerpon, and if you're wondering, how are they going to use a Wellspring Masked Ogerpon 3 torrential pump? How are they going to torrentially pump you, pilot? Well, first off, I would supply them with the lubricant. God, of course we prize a Tirtouga. But they would just go Teal Mask Ogerpon down, Energy Switch, Crispin. But with a 12-card hand and 3 different energy in the bin, you have to assume that that option isn't necessarily available to them. What they could also do is they might have Glass Trumpet. That was something I saw in a bunch of Toucannon lists, the Terra build specifically, is you just chuck in 1 Glass Trumpet, you have like energy switches and stuff. Mind you, we still haven't seen their A-Spec. That's a lot more items, by the way. And they do have to get a Latinas or an air balloon or something if they want to take the KO. But I essentially have 4 turns to get a Tirtouga Energy Gust. I mean, they have everything they need, which is very sad. And they could shorten this game with the Wellspring Masked Ogerpon. But this is looking, if I had a playable hand, I'd be feeling a little bit safer. But all I need is Tirtouga Energy Bosses or Tirtouga Energy Gust, and I win. And I don't know if you spotted it, but PDCGL is currently having a problem in its pants. Tell me, can you spot the error that is currently happening on my side of the field? Not my opponent's. There is currently a visual error on my side of the field, specifically on my bench. Can you spot it? I'll give you a hint. It's this cover fossil doesn't have a hit point bar. My cover fossil, for some reason, this one cover fossil does not have hit points. Explain that one to me, please. Wait, does that mean I should promote? Is this PDCGL's way of saying I'm going to give you an energy top deck? I'm going to trust, profit isn't just what I make off of my Twitch viewers. This is PDCGL saying you will promote it and you will win this game. Oh my goodness. I know I shouldn't play the Pokédeer and I should hold it until like they get down to one prize, but come on. Come on. At this point, PDCGL is literally telling me that you have to do this, pilot. You have to do this. It is the way. All right, let's go. This guy down. How many night stretchers? I'm down to. So actually, I'm going to get rid of the root fossil. I know it seems weird, but just playing as many cards as possible, it gets me down to the bottom of my deck faster, and that's all I want to do. So let's go energy. I believed in PDCGL. I believed in my deck, and it believed in me. And there you go. The Tirtouga, again, doing 300 damage. I could have taken a turn to use the Rotom, but I trusted PDCGL. It was giving me a sign. It was like when For the Win has a sign on the back of his shirt that says enter here. PDCGL was giving me a sign. Like, PDCGL never breaks. You cannot remember a single time where PDCGL has ever had a problem. So if there's one time where PDCGL has a slight oopsie, you need to pay attention to it and read the signs. And there's a bot. Wait, what? Okay. Do they realize I have one prize card left? So again, this is like the earlier game in the YouTube video where they did make a couple missteps. You know, one of them was into my open mouth, so it's kind of makes sense that they got trapped and they tripped. But even if they'd played this perfectly, they would have maybe taken 1 or 2 extra prizes and I would still win because I'm that awesome. And this is just why I like including the Rotom. Yes, it's unfortunate that it requires a lightning energy, and lightning energy doesn't work with Tirtouga. It does work with Relicanth since it's colorless. But for situations where your opponent has a 13, 14, 15, 16 card hand, are you trying to stall? Are they just going to try and stall me with Sob? Joke's on you, Shogun-chan. I have a 29 card deck. They're going to try and stall me with Sob, not realizing that I can just... This is going to be great. This is going to be a great finale here. I'm just going to Colress for, yeah, that and that. I should probably be a little more careful and not as flippant, but, you know, this is what we do. This is what we do. I can also just hit into them for, I think, 80 damage, 40 damage, but we're using Crush and Pulse, baby. Ooh. Oh, get that Prime Catcher out of here, bro. So if they want to use Torrential Pump, go for it. I think I've won the game. I need 1 prize. And also, if they attach an energy and they don't use Crispin, Energy Short is doing, I think, 80 damage right now, so I'm softening them up even further. And there's a Petrol. So they're just stalling right now. You know, I don't blame them for trying to play the game, because I know they don't have any items left, but you have to look at the board position here, Shogun-chan. Yes, I applaud the effort, but I have 21 more cards in my deck than you do. And even if you're able to use Torrential Pump, and I mean, I guess I just thin as many cards as I can out of my deck. Right? Because that is what will be good. And then, yeah, just thin as many cards out just in case something screwy happens where, you know, oh, I guess I could have used, actually, I can still use Fossil Quarry, right? I can still just thin everybody out of there. And then just get all the dudes out and be like, hey, you wanna do this the hard way? I always do things the hard way. And then I'm just thinning everybody out. I'm playing this like a good boy. The other fun thing I could have done is I could have used Judge and then Crushing Pulse. And if their hand was just, you know, items, that would have been hilarious. But they're essentially in a situation where they are out of resources, and even if they're not, they have to get rid of 3 energy. They have to bosses. They're going to knock out Tirtouga and cover Fossil. That's fine, because you don't know what's about to happen, because I left myself this option to win as well. Because I only have to do 130 damage to knock out the Wellspring Masked Ogerpon. That was another thing that I had in the back of my foot, is that I'm still doing 130 because I'm just this good at playing this Relicanth deck. You know, I had a slight mental breakdown when I was playing this deck, but then I rebounded. You know, I went out to a bar. I found, the woman who had the lowest standards. And, like PDCGL, I don't know where I'm going. I was trying to make a standard expanded joke, but it didn't work. I tried to make a full expanded joke on PDCGL, but it didn't show up because PDCGL doesn't have expanded yet, even though it's been. Fun fact: PDCGL was announced 5 years ago in September. So that means PDCGL has been in development for at least 6 or 7 years, and we still don't have expanded.